In the sprawling landscape of Silicon Valley, few figures have had as peculiar and profound an influence as Naval Ravikant. Unlike traditional CEOs or startup founders, Naval's impact was not primarily through the products he built or companies he ran, but through ideas, mentorship, and the subtle art of influence. He became a thought leader of a new generation, someone whose advice on wealth, startups, and life philosophy resonated far beyond the tech ecosystem. Naval was born in India in 1974 and moved to the United States as a young child. Growing up in New York, he quickly demonstrated a precocious intelligence and curiosity, fascinated by technology, economics, and philosophy. By the time he reached adulthood, Naval had developed a unique perspective on life, blending Eastern philosophy, Western capitalism, and Silicon Valley's relentless drive for innovation. Early in his career, he began experimenting with startups. He co-founded ventures like ePinions, which was later acquired, gaining him first-hand experience with entrepreneurship, investing, and scaling businesses. These early experiences shaped his worldview. The most successful people combined intelligence, focus, and patience with a deep understanding of leverage and value creation. But what set Naval apart wasn't simply business acumen. He had a rare ability to distill complex ideas into simple, actionable insights. He spoke not just to founders or investors, but to anyone willing to think critically about life, wealth, and happiness. This clarity, combined with a candid and approachable voice, turned him into a mentor figure for thousands who never met him in person. Around the mid-2000s, Naval began angel investing. He had a keen eye for promising startups, backing companies like Twitter, Uber, and AngelList. Unlike many investors motivated purely by financial gain, Naval sought founders with vision, resilience, and integrity, focusing on long-term potential rather than short-term returns. His investments were often coupled with mentorship, helping startups navigate the chaotic early stages of growth. As social media gained prominence, Naval began sharing his insights online. He embraced Twitter threads and blog posts as platforms to convey his philosophy. Short, digestible, yet profound reflections on wealth, decision-making, and life purpose rapidly gained traction. Readers found themselves returning not just for business tips, but for guidance on living a thoughtful, intentional life. Naval's influence was unique because it bridged worlds. He was both a practitioner and a philosopher, an investor and a thinker, a Silicon Valley insider and a guide for anyone seeking clarity in an increasingly complex world. His voice carried authenticity. He didn't offer hype or empty promises but shared reflections drawn from experience, experimentation, and careful observation. This story follows Naval Ravikant's journey, from his formative years in India and New York, through the early days of entrepreneurship, to becoming a cultural and intellectual icon for startups, investors, and thinkers worldwide. It explores the principles, habits, and philosophies that shaped his life and the enduring impact of his ideas on the next generation of entrepreneurs. Ultimately, Naval's story is not just about wealth or startups. It is about curiosity, self-mastery, and the power of ideas to shape the world, proving that influence does not always come from titles or offices, but from clarity of thought, generosity, and a relentless pursuit of truth. Naval Ravikant was born in 1974 in Chandigarh, India, a city known for its modernist architecture and progressive vision. His early life in India was marked by exposure to a culture of resilience, family ties, and intellectual curiosity. When his family emigrated to the United States, settling in New York, young Naval faced the dual challenge of adapting to a new environment while maintaining his cultural identity. From a young age, Naval displayed a keen interest in technology, math, and problem-solving. He was fascinated by computers and entrepreneurship, often experimenting with early computing devices and software, which were emerging in the late 1970s and 1980s. These early explorations laid the groundwork for his technical understanding and ability to navigate the fast-moving world of Silicon Valley years later. Education played a crucial role in shaping Naval's worldview. He excelled academically, but more importantly, he sought knowledge beyond the classroom. He devoured books on philosophy, economics, and psychology, blending Eastern and Western thought in a way that would later define his unique voice. Thinkers like Ralph Waldo Emerson, Stoic philosophers, and Eastern mystics influenced him, cultivating a mindset that valued self-reflection, critical thinking, and the pursuit of personal freedom. During his teenage years, Naval began experimenting with small business ventures, exploring ways to combine technology and practical problem-solving. He learned early lessons about failure, risk, and perseverance, lessons that would guide his entrepreneurial journey. Each setback became a source of insight, reinforcing the importance of patience, focus, and thoughtful decision-making. College years further expanded his horizons. Naval attended Stuyvesant High School in New York, known for its rigorous academics, before pursuing higher education at the University of Pennsylvania. Here, he combined formal learning in computer science and economics with practical experience, exploring startups, programming projects, and investment opportunities. His education was not just about credentials but about building a mindset that could analyze complex systems, anticipate trends, and create value. Even during these formative years, Naval displayed a deep fascination with wealth creation, not as a goal of greed, but as a tool for freedom and autonomy. He studied market dynamics, investment principles, and business models, seeking ways to generate leverage, using knowledge, capital, and networks to achieve outsized impact. This perspective would later define his approach to startups, angel investing, and personal philosophy. Naval's early life also shaped his views on risk and failure. Emigrating to a new country, adapting to cultural differences, and navigating the pressures of elite education taught him resilience. He learned to embrace uncertainty, experiment boldly, and view failure as a learning tool rather than a personal flaw. These lessons became foundational as he entered the volatile world of tech entrepreneurship. By the end of his early formative years, Naval had cultivated a rare blend of technical skill, philosophical insight, and entrepreneurial curiosity. He was ready not only to build startups but to become a thought leader who could bridge worlds, the intellectual, the technological, and the practical. His youth laid the foundation for a career defined as much by ideas and wisdom as by tangible business success. These formative experiences underscore a key theme in Naval's life. Success is rooted in curiosity, discipline, and the ability to think independently. From India to New York, from classrooms to entrepreneurial experiments, Naval's early years were a preparation for a future where ideas, wisdom, and action would intersect to create lasting impact. After completing his formal education, Naval Ravikant entered the world of entrepreneurship with a mix of curiosity, ambition, and the hard-earned lessons from his youth. His first ventures were experimental, small-scale, and often fraught with risk, but each provided valuable insights into building, scaling, and sustaining businesses. One of his earliest notable projects was the founding of ePinions in the late 1990s, a platform that allowed users to share product reviews online. At a time when e-commerce was still in its infancy, ePinions was a pioneering idea, harnessing the power of user-generated content to create trust and community around online shopping. Naval's role went beyond technical expertise. He focused on product design, community building, and strategic partnerships, understanding that a successful startup required more than code, it needed engagement, value, and vision. ePinions faced its share of challenges. Competition was fierce, funding was limited, and consumer habits were still forming. Yet these obstacles taught Naval resilience, adaptability, and the importance of learning from failure. The company eventually merged with DealTime and later became part of Shopping.com, providing Naval with his first major experience in startup exits and the complexities of business integration. Following ePinions, Naval co-founded AngelList, a platform designed to connect startups with investors. This venture reflected a broader understanding of systemic inefficiencies in Silicon Valley. He realized that access to capital and mentorship was often limited to a select group, and many promising startups struggled to find early support. AngelList democratized investment, enabling a new generation of founders and investors to connect, collaborate, and scale. These first ventures shaped Naval's investment philosophy. He learned to recognize founders with exceptional vision, resilience, and integrity. Unlike many investors focused solely on immediate returns, Naval emphasized long-term potential, alignment of values, and founder empowerment. His approach combined practical insight with a philosophical lens, assessing both market opportunities and human qualities. Naval also began to cultivate a network of mentors, peers, and thought leaders during these years. He sought guidance from experienced entrepreneurs while simultaneously sharing his own knowledge with emerging founders. This dual role, as both learner and mentor, strengthened his reputation in Silicon Valley as a wise, accessible, and trusted advisor. Beyond business, these ventures reinforced Naval's belief in the importance of leverage. He understood that wealth creation and impact were amplified when knowledge, capital, and networks were applied effectively. This principle became central to his advice: use time, technology, and skills to generate compounding value, rather than merely trading hours for income. Personal philosophy also matured alongside his entrepreneurial experiences. Naval began articulating his ideas on happiness, purpose, and decision-making, drawing from Stoicism, Eastern thought, and practical business experience. He realized that true success required aligning wealth and influence with personal fulfillment and meaningful work. By the end of this phase, Naval had transformed from a curious student into a seasoned entrepreneur and investor. His first ventures were more than business experiments. They were a training ground for insight, judgment, and strategy. These experiences laid the foundation for his later influence as a thought leader, where his ideas on wealth, startups, and life philosophy would reach a global audience. The lessons from his early ventures highlight a consistent theme in Naval's journey. Success is cultivated through experimentation, reflection, and intentional action, and true impact arises from empowering others as much as from personal achievement. As Naval Ravikant gained experience from his early ventures, he turned increasingly toward angel investing, recognizing it as a way to apply his insights, support visionary founders, and generate leverage in the startup ecosystem. Unlike traditional investors, Naval approached angel investing with a blend of analytical rigor, intuition, and a deep understanding of human potential. One of his most notable investments was in Twitter, which at the time was a fledgling platform with uncertain prospects. Naval saw beyond the immediate technical challenges, identifying the transformative potential of microblogging to reshape communication globally. This pattern repeated across his portfolio. He focused on companies with not just innovative products, but founders with vision, resilience, and the ability to navigate uncertainty. Through platforms like AngelList, which he co-founded, Naval also helped democratize access to startup investing. Before AngelList, investing in early-stage tech companies was largely limited to a select group of insiders. AngelList allowed ordinary investors to participate alongside seasoned angels, creating new opportunities for both founders and backers. Naval's work here reflected his broader philosophy: leverage systems to empower individuals, enabling a wider distribution of opportunity and influence. His influence extended beyond financial capital. Naval became a mentor and advisor to countless founders, offering guidance on strategy, hiring, culture, and product development. His insights were not just theoretical, they came from first-hand experience building and scaling companies. He emphasized the importance of thinking long-term, optimizing for compounding outcomes, and maintaining clarity of purpose. Around this time, Naval began articulating his ideas more publicly. Blogs, interviews, and Twitter threads became his medium to share lessons on wealth creation, decision-making, and life philosophy. Unlike many tech figures, Naval avoided hype and self-promotion. His content was concise, practical, and deeply reflective, making complex ideas accessible to a global audience. This public presence helped Naval cultivate a cult following among entrepreneurs, investors, and thinkers worldwide. People turned to his advice not just for actionable tips, but for guidance on how to think, prioritize, and live intentionally. His voice became a bridge between Silicon Valley expertise and a broader audience seeking wisdom in an era of rapid technological change. Naval also introduced key mental models and frameworks to his followers, such as leverage, specific knowledge, and optionality. These principles explained how to maximize impact while minimizing wasted effort, resonating with both startup founders and anyone striving for personal or financial growth. His approach combined practicality with philosophical depth, making his guidance applicable across careers, industries, and life situations. At the same time, Naval remained selective in his investments and public statements. He understood the value of reputation and trust, maintaining integrity and authenticity in all interactions. This consistency further solidified his influence, making him a trusted voice in a noisy and often unpredictable startup ecosystem. By the late 2000s and early 2010s, Naval Ravikant had become more than an investor. He was a thought leader shaping the way a generation of entrepreneurs approached wealth, work, and life. His influence rested not on titles or positions, but on clarity of insight, generosity of advice, and the tangible results he helped create in the startup world. Through angel investing and public thought leadership, Naval demonstrated that true impact comes from empowering others, leveraging knowledge, and sharing wisdom widely, lessons that would define his continuing journey and the enduring relevance of his ideas. While Naval Ravikant is widely recognized as a successful entrepreneur and investor, his influence extends far beyond financial success. What truly set him apart was his ability to articulate timeless principles for life, wealth, and decision-making, distilling complex ideas into actionable wisdom that resonated globally. A cornerstone of Naval's philosophy is his concept of wealth as freedom. For him, wealth is not about accumulation or status, it is about having the freedom to make choices, pursue meaningful work, and live life on your own terms. He emphasized creating specific knowledge, building leverage through technology or capital, and embracing long-term thinking as the foundation for genuine financial independence. Naval also explored the interplay between happiness and wealth, arguing that money alone cannot guarantee fulfillment. Instead, he highlighted the importance of self-awareness, mindfulness, and personal growth. He encouraged individuals to cultivate habits that reduce mental clutter, focus on what truly matters, and seek intrinsic satisfaction rather than external validation. His approach combined Eastern philosophy, Stoicism, and practical life strategies, creating a framework that resonated across cultures. Another defining element of Naval's teachings is his emphasis on decision-making under uncertainty. He advocates for mental models that improve judgment, minimize cognitive biases, and optimize for optionality. Naval teaches that most high-impact decisions are not about predicting the future perfectly but about positioning yourself advantageously, learning quickly, and retaining flexibility. This mindset is especially relevant to entrepreneurs, investors, and anyone navigating complex, rapidly changing environments. Naval's approach to learning is also distinctive. He prioritizes reading broadly, experimenting constantly, and synthesizing insights from diverse fields. For him, knowledge is not static, it is actionable and interconnected. By continuously refining his understanding of markets, technology, and human behavior, Naval exemplifies the value of lifelong learning and intellectual curiosity. In his Twitter threads and podcasts, Naval frequently shared practical advice for wealth creation. He discussed the importance of building products that scale, investing in ideas with asymmetric upside, and using technology to achieve leverage. Yet he always balanced this with reflections on mental health, happiness, and ethical considerations, reinforcing that success is holistic, not merely financial. Naval also explored the idea of delayed gratification and long-term compounding. Whether in investing, skill building, or personal growth, he emphasized patience and consistent effort as critical components of meaningful achievement. This principle is mirrored in his own career, where early risks, failures, and disciplined learning ultimately led to outsized rewards and influence. A key theme in his philosophy is authenticity and integrity. Naval stresses that building trust and maintaining ethical consistency are essential for long-term success, both personally and professionally. He encourages individuals to focus on creating value rather than chasing validation, believing that true impact arises from competence, clarity, and generosity. By integrating insights on wealth, happiness, and decision-making, Naval has created a framework for living intentionally in the modern world. His ideas resonate not just with entrepreneurs and investors but with anyone seeking to navigate uncertainty, maximize impact, and cultivate a fulfilling life. In essence, Naval Ravikant's philosophy is about empowerment through knowledge, intentional action, and self-mastery. It demonstrates that true success is multifaceted, where financial freedom, personal fulfillment, and wise decision-making intersect, and offers a blueprint for those striving to achieve it in an ever-changing world. In the digital age, ideas spread faster than ever before, and Naval Ravikant recognized early on the power of social media as a tool for influence and education. Unlike traditional thought leaders who relied on books, interviews, or conferences, Naval embraced Twitter as a platform to share distilled insights directly with a global audience. His Twitter threads became mini essays on life, wealth, startups, and philosophy, blending clarity, brevity, and depth. Each post was carefully crafted, often containing lessons drawn from personal experience, historical observation, or timeless philosophy. By focusing on actionable wisdom rather than fleeting trends, Naval carved a unique space for himself in the online world, a space that combined thought leadership, mentorship, and practical guidance. The platform allowed Naval to reach far beyond Silicon Valley, connecting with entrepreneurs, investors, students, and curious minds worldwide. His ability to translate complex ideas into simple, digestible principles made his threads widely shareable, amplifying his influence, and creating a community of followers who valued substance over style. Naval's Twitter presence also reflected his approach to personal branding and authenticity. He avoided self-promotion, viral gimmicks, or controversy for attention. Instead, he consistently shared insights, reflections, and frameworks that help people think more clearly about decision-making, wealth creation, and life purpose. This consistency built trust and credibility, making his voice a reliable guide in an era of digital noise. Beyond individual influence, Naval used Twitter to cultivate a network of thinkers and doers, engaging in meaningful conversations, answering questions, and providing mentorship virtually. His engagement was selective but thoughtful, reinforcing the idea that influence is most potent when it is intentional, respectful, and value-driven. Through online platforms, Naval also popularized concepts like specific knowledge, leverage, and optionality. He explained how these ideas could empower individuals to achieve disproportionate outcomes in business and life. By reaching millions online, he created a movement of self-directed learners and entrepreneurs, inspiring people to think critically, act strategically, and pursue their goals with clarity. His influence extended beyond text. Podcasts, interviews, and online discussions allowed Naval to expand his reach, offering deeper explorations of his ideas while retaining the accessible style that had become his hallmark. Whether through 280-character tweets or hour-long conversations, Naval demonstrated that digital media could democratize access to high-quality wisdom, breaking down barriers between Silicon Valley elites and a global audience. Importantly, Naval's use of Twitter also showcased his understanding of the modern attention economy. He leveraged the platform not for instant gratification or virality, but as a tool for education, mentorship, and long-term influence. This approach highlighted a key principle in his philosophy: value creation and thoughtful communication yield lasting impact far beyond fleeting popularity. By the mid-2010s, Naval had become a digital mentor and intellectual figurehead, inspiring countless entrepreneurs, investors, and learners to rethink wealth, decision-making, and life purpose. His influence demonstrated that in the age of social media, ideas could travel faster and farther than capital, and that clarity of thought could shape the thinking of an entire generation. In summary, Naval Ravikant's mastery of Twitter and online influence was not just about building a following. It was about amplifying wisdom, connecting communities, and empowering individuals to act with knowledge, intention, and independence. His digital presence became a powerful extension of his lifelong mission, helping people navigate the complexities of wealth, work, and life with clarity and purpose. As Naval Ravikant's profile grew, both through his ventures and his online presence, he became a highly sought-after mentor in the startup ecosystem. Unlike conventional advisors, Naval combined practical business experience with deep philosophical insights, making him uniquely capable of guiding founders not only on strategy but also on mindset and personal growth. Mentorship became a central aspect of Naval's work. He believed that founders are the most critical leverage points in the tech ecosystem. Help the right person at the right time, and the effects ripple outward exponentially. Naval spent time with early-stage entrepreneurs, providing guidance on product-market fit, fundraising, team building, and scaling. Yet, his approach went beyond mechanics. He emphasized the importance of clarity, patience, and self-awareness in leadership. Naval also recognized that startup success is deeply influenced by decision-making under uncertainty. He taught founders to embrace optionality, creating multiple pathways for success while mitigating risks. His advice often highlighted the intersection of intuition and analysis, encouraging entrepreneurs to trust informed judgment while continuously iterating based on feedback. Through AngelList and his broader network, Naval cultivated a community where mentorship was reciprocal and knowledge flowed freely. New founders benefited from his insights, while seasoned entrepreneurs engaged in collaborative problem-solving. This culture of shared learning reinforced the value of intellectual generosity, making the Silicon Valley ecosystem more dynamic and inclusive. Naval's mentorship extended beyond technical or business guidance. He frequently discussed mental health, personal growth, and the philosophy of work, helping founders navigate the intense pressures of entrepreneurship. He stressed that long-term resilience and happiness are as important as immediate financial gains, advocating for a balanced approach to life and work. One distinctive aspect of Naval's mentorship was his focus on principles over prescriptions. Instead of telling founders exactly what to do, he offered frameworks, mental models, and guiding philosophies. This approach empowered entrepreneurs to think independently, make informed decisions, and develop judgment, rather than simply following instructions. Naval also championed the idea of specific knowledge, cultivating skills and expertise that are difficult to replicate but highly valuable. He encouraged founders to leverage their unique talents, interests, and experiences to build products or companies that only they could create. This principle became a cornerstone of his mentorship philosophy, aligning personal fulfillment with business success. Over time, Naval's mentorship extended globally. Through online platforms, podcasts, and social media, he reached aspiring entrepreneurs far beyond Silicon Valley, democratizing access to high-quality advice and inspiration. He demonstrated that mentorship is not confined by geography or status, but can be amplified through thoughtful communication and shared principles. By nurturing founders, sharing wisdom, and fostering community, Naval Ravikant became more than an investor. He became a catalyst for innovation, a guide for emerging leaders, and a mentor whose impact multiplied through the success of others. His work illustrates that in the startup world, influence is measured not only by capital invested but by knowledge shared, decisions improved, and futures shaped. Naval's commitment to mentorship highlights a recurring theme in his life. Empowerment through knowledge and guidance is one of the most enduring forms of impact, creating a ripple effect that shapes industries, communities, and the lives of countless individuals. By this stage in his journey, Naval Ravikant had accumulated decades of experience across entrepreneurship, investing, and mentorship, positioning him to offer timeless lessons to a global audience of founders, investors, and thinkers. His insights are not abstract theory, they are actionable, distilled from real-world experience, and rooted in enduring principles. One of Naval's central lessons is the power of leverage. He emphasizes that in the modern economy, leverage takes multiple forms: capital, labor, and technology. Unlike the traditional model of trading hours for money, Naval teaches that true wealth and impact come from creating systems that amplify effort, whether through scalable software, intellectual property, or networked influence. He also stresses the importance of specific knowledge, advocating that individuals cultivate rare, hard-to-replicate skills that align with their passions and natural talents. Entrepreneurs who focus on their unique strengths are better positioned to create innovative products, dominate niche markets, and command value that cannot easily be copied. Another cornerstone of Naval's philosophy is optional flexibility. He advises building multiple pathways to success, diversifying risks, and creating flexibility to adapt as circumstances change. In investing, this manifests as allocating resources to high-upside opportunities, while in entrepreneurship, it means maintaining agility in strategy, product development, and growth plans. Naval's insights extend beyond business mechanics to the psychology of decision-making. He teaches that clear thinking, emotional self-awareness, and rational prioritization are critical to long-term success. Entrepreneurs and investors alike benefit from removing distractions, managing mental energy, and focusing on high-leverage decisions. A particularly impactful lesson Naval shares is the compounding of knowledge and habits. Just as wealth compounds financially, intellectual and personal growth compounds over time. By consistently learning, experimenting, and iterating, individuals position themselves for outsized achievements and enduring influence. Naval also advocates for independence and self-reliance, emphasizing that freedom, financial, intellectual, and personal, is a prerequisite for meaningful work. He encourages founders and investors to design lives where autonomy and choice guide decisions, allowing them to pursue ventures aligned with both values and vision. Ethics and integrity remain central to Naval's advice. He argues that reputation is a form of leverage and that trust, honesty, and alignment with core principles amplify influence and long-term outcomes. This approach is particularly relevant in startup ecosystems, where relationships, credibility, and perception can determine access to capital, talent, and opportunities. For investors, Naval emphasizes long-term thinking and asymmetric risk-reward opportunities. The goal is not to chase short-term gains but to position oneself where small inputs can generate exponential impact. This principle informs his angel investments and guides a philosophy that blends pragmatism with strategic foresight. Finally, Naval highlights the integration of wealth and happiness. He warns against pursuing financial success at the expense of well-being, advocating instead for a holistic approach that aligns ambition with fulfillment. By combining practical financial strategies with introspection, mindfulness, and self-mastery, entrepreneurs and investors can achieve both material and personal success. Through these lessons, Naval Ravikant has shaped a blueprint for modern entrepreneurship and investment, one that values leverage, specific knowledge, optionality, ethical behavior, and personal growth. His guidance demonstrates that success is not just about money or influence, but about creating systems, habits, and mindsets that compound over time, empowering individuals to navigate uncertainty and maximize impact. As Naval Ravikant's influence grew, his legacy extended far beyond his personal ventures or investments. He became a cultural icon for a generation of thinkers, entrepreneurs, and investors, embodying a philosophy that merged wealth creation with wisdom, independence, and clarity of thought. Naval's impact is particularly evident in the startup ecosystem, where his guidance shaped how founders approach decision-making, product development, and scaling. Many credit his mentorship, online insights, and frameworks with helping them avoid common pitfalls, identify high-leverage opportunities, and navigate uncertainty. His voice became synonymous with practical, thoughtful advice, blending financial acumen with life philosophy. The broader cultural influence of Naval Ravikant can be seen in the global movement of self-directed learners and independent thinkers. Through his podcasts, Twitter threads, and interviews, Naval democratized access to high-quality mentorship and strategic thinking. Entrepreneurs from around the world could engage with his principles, applying them in diverse contexts from tech startups to personal finance, creative ventures, and beyond. Naval's ideas also influenced the philosophy of modern wealth creation. By emphasizing leverage, specific knowledge, optionality, and compounding, he reframed the conversation around money, not as a goal in itself, but as a tool for freedom and impact. This perspective resonated with a generation seeking autonomy in work, life, and learning. In addition to wealth and startups, Naval became a thought leader on happiness, mindfulness, and mental clarity. His reflections on meditation, self-awareness, and the pursuit of intrinsic satisfaction inspired many to rethink priorities and live intentionally. The combination of practical financial strategies and philosophical depth set him apart from other voices in the tech and investing space. Naval's cultural impact also extends into online education and the sharing economy of ideas. By openly sharing mental models, frameworks, and principles, he challenged the notion that high-level knowledge should be restricted to elites. His work exemplifies how the Internet can amplify wisdom and connect communities across borders, creating a ripple effect that extends well beyond immediate followers. Despite his global influence, Naval maintained authenticity, humility, and selectivity. He avoided the trappings of celebrity or self-promotion, allowing his ideas to speak for themselves. This approach strengthened his credibility and reinforced the perception of Naval as a trusted, enduring voice rather than a fleeting trend. By 2023, Naval Ravikant had achieved a unique legacy. He was not only a successful entrepreneur and investor but also a guiding figure for a generation navigating wealth, work, and life in an increasingly complex world. His influence demonstrated that ideas, thoughtfully shared, can shape cultures, industries, and personal trajectories in ways that transcend traditional measures of success. Ultimately, Naval's legacy is a testament to the power of clarity, generosity, and strategic thinking. Through mentorship, online presence, investments, and philosophical insights, he created a lasting impact, helping individuals and communities think more clearly, act more intentionally, and pursue lives of meaningful influence. Naval Ravikant's journey, from a curious, self-directed thinker to a globally recognized entrepreneur, investor, and philosopher, illustrates the power of ideas, clarity, and intentional action. His influence is not measured solely by the startups he supported or the capital he deployed, but by the lives he has shaped through insight, mentorship, and inspiration. At the core of Naval's philosophy lies a simple yet profound principle: wealth, happiness, and influence are interconnected when approached intentionally. He challenges conventional thinking, urging individuals to pursue not just financial success, but freedom, self-mastery, and purposeful work. This holistic approach reframes success as a balance of external achievement and internal fulfillment, offering a model for navigating the complexities of modern life. Through his tweets, podcasts, and public reflections, Naval has distilled principles that are both timeless and actionable. The concepts of leverage, specific knowledge, optionality, and compounding provide a framework for creating disproportionate impact. These ideas have helped entrepreneurs, investors, and thinkers make better decisions, optimize effort, and embrace long-term thinking. Naval's dedication to mentorship and community building further amplifies his impact. By sharing wisdom openly and thoughtfully, he has democratized access to high-quality guidance, enabling individuals worldwide to benefit from insights that were once confined to Silicon Valley or elite circles. His approach exemplifies how knowledge, generosity, and strategic communication can create ripple effects far beyond immediate interactions. The cultural significance of Naval Ravikant extends beyond startups and finance. His reflections on mindfulness, happiness, and the philosophy of life offer guidance to anyone seeking clarity and fulfillment in an increasingly complex world. By integrating personal well-being with professional success, Naval illustrates that lasting influence requires balance, introspection, and ethical consistency. In an era defined by rapid technological change and the proliferation of information, Naval's work serves as a compass for intentional living. He demonstrates that thoughtful reflection, principled action, and continuous learning are not abstract ideals. They are practical tools for achieving meaningful success. Ultimately, the enduring lessons of Naval Ravikant are clear: pursue knowledge relentlessly, cultivate skills that matter, leverage technology and relationships wisely, and prioritize both freedom and fulfillment. By following these principles, individuals can navigate uncertainty, maximize their impact, and live lives that are rich in purpose, clarity, and lasting influence. Naval's journey reminds us that true power is not just in wealth or status, but in the ability to think clearly, act intentionally, and elevate others through shared wisdom. His life and teachings leave a legacy that will continue to inspire generations of entrepreneurs, thinkers, and lifelong learners for decades to come.